When it comes to our identities on the web, what are people rightly and wrongly afraid of?
I mean, people would be whom is afraid of what. So the stakes of being on the internet are completely different for different people. There's social vulnerability in the world, and different people are afraid of different things. I think a lot of people are just afraid of neglect more than necessarily being like cyberbullied. I think for a lot of people, the biggest fear is that you post something on Facebook and it gets no likes, or an Instagram photo gets no likes. Usually that'll then get deleted. And, you know, so that, but for other people, the fear is very different. If, you know, so one example, so it used to be in the past, and it is again now, but it used to be in the past, you can make your friends list and your likes private or public. You had that choice. And one day Facebook decided, you know, let's just make those public for everybody. You know, no, you know, I don't think they had any malicious reason for doing that. So they flip a switch, make it all public. Well, if you were a gay teen in the closet with, say, bigoted parents, you live in the South, your friends list and your likes, that gives out your sexual orientation. Suddenly parents knew their sexual orientation. For some of them, that means getting kicked out of the house. And we know the suicide rates for homeless gay teenagers. And there was that was a massive disaster, and Facebook, oh my God, that's not what we meant, and turned it back. So you can now make your friends list and likes private again. But I think that's just a good example of, you know, what are people afraid of? For some people, it's actual bodily harm. And I think we should never lose sight of that when we're designing products.
I think there was a time, like 10 years ago, like sort of Gawker's prime era, when if you were caught on the web doing something stupid, or if you were stupid enough to post like an embarrassing photo and it became viral just based on the whims of some blogger, that was your fate. And like, you deserve that, that's on your permanent record, and that's just your life now. But I think that's changed. I think it's a lot kinder now. Again, there's many monsters on the web, but there's a sense that everyone has like a dirty picture somewhere that they don't want to get out, and there's a lot more empathy for people who might go through that.
Yeah, it seems like the conversation really changed after Jennifer Lawrence, or maybe at that. That was sort of a pivot where the previous, it was somebody would have their photos spread beyond what they intended, and it would be like, you shouldn't have taken those photos. And I feel like the response now is a much more mature and useful one, which is, oh my God, don't spread people's photos past what they intend.
Yeah, I was watching the high school classic American Pie over Thanksgiving, and it's crazy because there's a scene where a girl changes in a boy's bedroom and they tape her and like show it live over the internet. And there's like no like flicker of second guessing that this is a great idea. There's no guilt about it. This is just like, it's incredible, and we've completely changed since then.
Yeah, I mean, we wonder why people are so often, I say people, I mean boys, are so often sharing photos. Like if somebody sends them a photo and they share it, like, yeah, like the culture hasn't done a whole lot to say that is the moment, that's the moral moment. Like the moral problem for most of the books in here about the internet is the girl taking the photo, not the guy sending it to his class. And it'd be nice if more of these books, in the rare books room, more of these rare books took on sexting in a you know, a morally a better way that is like less victim blamey.
Yeah, well, backstage we were talking about the new book by Nancy Jo Sales, American Girls, and it's, you know, in a long line of hysterical parent targeted books and like Dateline specials about how kids these days are sending sex, they're hypersexualized, they're being ruined by Instagram and Snapchat. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you can already guess the cover of the book that is about, oh my God, the internet is sexualizing teen girls, right? It's two girls and they're wearing, you know, it's like focused on their like midriffs and their chests, and they're wearing like the book is doing the thing. This is like a classic, you know, if you teach Foucault's history of sexuality, just use this as an example. This is like the classic American response where you pretend to be outraged about sex, and really it's an obsession with. This is classic concern trolling. When we say concern trolling, it's sort of enacting the thing that you're concerned about, and it's you know, very, I think, counterproductive.
Yeah, there's the whole book is full of anecdotes that are very. If you gossiped in high school, you're familiar with all of them. This one girl did this one sexy thing, and then everybody found out about it, and her life is ruined. And there's no evidence that that is caused by the internet, for one. And for another, yeah, it's pure. It's leering at these girls. But the most remarkable part of the book, I think, is late in it, where the author goes to Tucson and interviews a homeless crust punk girl. And she talks about how she has to wear big clothes because she's afraid of being raped, and she's afraid of the men, and she tries to pretend to be a boy. And the author kind of presents this idea that maybe this girl's better off because she doesn't have the pressure of social media, which is insane.
It's a really, really depressing part of internet discussions right now, is sort of I mean, of course, society is uncomfortable with young people having sexual desires, especially young women having sexual desires. So I guess it's not necessarily a surprise, but we're getting the card to go on to the next question. Also uncomfortable with young women's sexual desires, I guess. I feel like this. Okay. Can an algorithm be an asshole?
Okay, yeah.
Can a card be an asshole?
Yeah.